Welcome to Japan Today Spotlight. I'm Jeff Richards here in Tokyo. In this edition of Japan Today Spotlight, we'll explore how the swipe has replaced the scroll and what that means for truth, trust, and journalism in Japan's digital age. Because for younger people in Japan and elsewhere, this is the news, or at least it's where it begins. It's fast, it's fragmented, and it's everywhere. For many people under the age of 30, the news comes in bursts. A meme here, a trending topic there. There is no front page, no anchor, no appointment at 7 p.m. for the nightly news. Instead, there is only the algorithm serving up what it thinks you want to see. And sometimes that is news. Most often, though, it's not. It used to be that editors, not blog or website editors, but newsroom editors, decided what made the cut. Now, it's influencers or faceless accounts or just the feed. There is no byline, no verification, no context. And this breakdown of editorial gatekeeping has big implications, not just for journalism, but for trust. Because in a world where anyone can post a headline or repackage a story, knowing who to believe has never been harder. One reason that this shift feels especially fragile in Japan is because media literacy hasn't been a national strength. The education system still favors rote memorization over questioning. There's no strong push in most schools to teach how to evaluate information, how to spot bias, or even how to ask better questions. Now, this isn't just a Japan issue. Globally, news habits are changing. But the shift here has some unique dimensions. According to Data Reportal and Digital Marketing for Asia, Line News, TikTok, and Instagram are among the most commonly used daily news sources for younger users in Japan. But here's the problem. These platforms were never built for journalism. Instagram explainer posts rarely link to sources. Even Line News often only shows snippets, not the full articles. And here on YouTube, there's some strong commentary, but the lines between fact and opinion get blurry fast. What rises to the top? Well, not what's most verified, vetted, and topical. Not current events outside of your own personal echo chamber. Japan's legacy press, the old line TV networks, the major dailies, still hold huge institutional power, but their relevance among younger people shrinking. Still, there are some bright spots. Tansa is a nonprofit newsroom in Tokyo, and it does deep dive investigations and spends time to train young journalists. Magdalena Osumi from the Japan Times has done Reddit AMAs to explain complex topics in really plain terms. Nithin Coca, who reports on tech and the environment, builds transparency right into his process while adapting to new platforms. They're not trying to go viral. They're trying to stay honest while still being seen. And to help you see them, we do have links to all of their websites in the show description. I had the chance to speak with Nithin about how journalists today can reach the swipe generation, and here's what he had to say.
Some Japanese users I work with, they're very resistant to making content free. They're kind of like, if we do that, no one will subscribe, but they don't see the other side. Like, if you don't make it free and accessible, young people will never see it. I think an example of like Japan Times is $30 a month or 4,000 yen for subscription. They're not going to pay that amount to subscribe. And I think it's a similar rate for Japanese media. I have met like some young Japanese who wanted to go into journalism, worked in a newsroom for 1 or 2 years, got burnt out, didn't like it, didn't feel like they were getting a chance to do what they really cared about, and moved on to some other career. And I think that's really sad, because these are bright young people. Japan is in this like strange middle ground where it's considered a developed country, so it's not eligible for like these media funds that go to developing countries. But at the same time, there's no like big domestic Japanese foundations or nonprofits supporting media that you have in the US, you have in Europe. It's really hard for newsrooms like Tansa, because they can't apply for a lot of these grants because they're designated for developing countries. There's like no space for younger journalists, no space for new ideas. So I don't necessarily blame like young people when the content they're being shown on social media is very likely coming from untrustworthy resources or sources, because the trusted sources are not really trying to engage them. And I think the fault of media outlets is we're not explaining the value of journalism very well, or the process. That'll also help people understand why this is important. Maybe just another, I guess, point or maybe advice for people is like, have some intentionality when you're trying to consume media. Don't just like read what's being served to you, but like seek news, seek accounts, try to read meaningfully. Most journalists definitely hold themselves to high standards, and a lot of them try very hard. And it's not a job you do for money. They're doing it because they want to like raise awareness about issues. They want to learn. They want to like play a role. And democracy depends on free press.
So here's the question we're left with, and not just for Japan, but for everywhere. If people are getting their news from the feed, are they really getting the news? Or are they just swiping through a stream of distractions and dopamine fixes dressed up like headlines? The swipe? It's easy. The scroll? Endless. But the truth? That still takes work. Let us know what you think, especially if you're under 30 and living in Japan. Where do you go for your news? Do you follow journalists or just the general vibe? Leave us a comment below, and thanks for watching Japan Today Spotlight. From the Japan Today newsroom here in Tokyo, I'm Jeff Richards. See you next time.